All right. Let's get this fixed. Cool. Can everyone hear me? All right. So this is me. I'm Haeri. I've been working at MNTN for over 5 years now. What I always say before these presentations is that I'm one of you all. I do these things to kind of speak to my own peers. So really just want to be a little like disarming to everybody here. I want to kind of talk to you as a fellow B2B marketer who faces a lot of the same challenges, and we'll talk about that quite a bit today. But my background is in B2B marketing. I've built and scaled up several B2B marketing organizations. So again, this is the stuff that I'm used to talking about, and I'm excited to have conversations with all of you throughout the conference here, so we could kind of share notes. So what I want to talk about today is a couple of things. The big theme here is differentiation. A lot of B2B marketing is kind of operating out of the same playbook, and we're all just trying to find ways to differentiate our brands from our competitors. And so certainly we'll talk about TV advertising as an opportunity to do that, and I'll get into it in a variety of ways. The other thing to kind of consider here too is that I suspect a lot of you represent growth stage companies, or maybe you're not a marketer, but you have some exposure to growth stage companies. And again, you're looking for some sort of method for that growth stage company to stick out and to succeed. And this is certainly a way to actually achieve some pretty fast growth. And so what I'll share today is not just some advice, but I'll show you some real campaign results as well too. I think the marketers in the room will specifically appreciate seeing the results of a real campaign and what kind of impact that has on my marketing organization. Because again, I'm in the same boat as most of you. So what we'll talk about is, we'll first start talking about the opportunity ahead of us. There's a lot of interesting things kind of going on right now. And for a marketer or marketing leader, especially in the B2B space, our challenges are compounded by a lot of other factors that are going on. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll take a look at a real campaign, because again, the point here is that television advertising can be a huge differentiator for B2B brands. And so we'll look at a real campaign that MNTN ran. We'll look at real results. We'll analyze those results together. And then the latter half of the presentation is really geared towards the marketing folks in the room. It gets quite tactical, actually. And what I'll do is I'll lift up the hood on the types of advertising that we're doing and share with you the strategy that we put behind this channel that really differentiates us from our competition. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is just this moment that we're in. I think there's probably going to be a lot of conversation about this today. First is the ever-changing landscape of ad platforms. Twitter is having a moment right now. Not quite sure what's going to come of it, but a lot of people are just kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen, and it's a bit of a circus. Facebook's obviously going through a change as well, and the jury's out on what the net result of that change will necessarily be. But as an advertiser, it's an interesting time, specifically in B2B, where we find ourselves to be quite dependent on paid search, LinkedIn specifically, and yet our goals are still aggressive. Everybody here has some really lofty targets that they have to hit, and I suspect you're all tapped out of your main channels. I know we are. We've optimized paid search to the bone. We have kind of optimized LinkedIn advertising to a point where there's nothing left for us to do. We had a meeting with our account rep at LinkedIn, and it was just crickets. They were like, well, you're kind of doing everything you should be. So a lot of B2B marketers find themselves in that position. Now that's compounded by the fact that, the macroeconomic conditions are complicated. Seems like we're not supposed to say that we're in a recession, but it feels like informally everybody feels like we're in one. And again, this is something that applies a lot of pressure on marketing leaders, because in a lot of instances, aspects of our budget are first to get cut, but our targets don't. We still have an expectation to deliver in light of challenges that we face. And also, post-pandemic, businesses are still finding their footing. Businesses are kind of picking up momentum after having a weird couple of years. There's other things going on too. Something that we're observing from a lot of our advertisers is hiring freezes or letting people go and downsizing of marketing teams. So teams have gotten leaner. We're definitely seeing a huge trend of in-housing happening on the marketing side. And something that I think is interesting for some of the folks here, because it seems like there's a lot of the finance community that have attended today too, which is increasing ARR specifically has become really important. In my early days of scaling up this team, it was just kind of getting everything in order, getting all the reporting and metrics in place, and building a demand gen machine that works. But these days, now that we're a more mature B2B marketing organization, we're thinking about ARR. We're thinking about how can we scale this existing customer base up to spend more with us. We want customers to have always-on campaigns. And so I suspect a lot of these challenges I'm facing, a lot of the other B2B marketing leaders are facing the same as well. Now, one observation that I've been having, and my peers sort of back me up on this as well, is that we're seeing a lot of out-of-home advertising for B2B, which is cool to see. It's surprising, but it's certainly cool to see. Specifically, I see a lot in the project management tool space. I live in LA, and I see a lot of billboards for ClickUp and Monday.com and Asana. And so it's been interesting to see that happen. Now, really, what's the idea behind that? Certainly, it's because these brands want to grow. And out-of-home advertising is certainly one way to actually achieve that growth, because it's brand awareness on a very large scale. And the point that I want to make here is that if a brand is is open-minded enough, a B2B brand is open-minded enough to do out-of-home advertising, they're absolutely ready to do connected television advertising. It's sort of the same. People kind of look at out-of-home advertising the same as they do television advertising, in that it's been perceived as a reach-first platform. It's very hard to track, but there's also a level of prestige associated with it as well. And so the news that I have for the room here is that connected television is now ready and accessible to B2B marketers. And this is precisely the way that B2B marketers can really differentiate themselves. Really, TV's been like a no man's land for B2B marketers mostly in all of its history. But these days, we're in a place where TV advertising is totally viable. And we'll talk precisely why. First is the precision targeting. One of the reasons why you don't see a lot of B2B advertising on linear television is the fact that the targeting of it is so abstract. With linear TV, you have to find a TV network and a program on the TV that aligns with your product. This is why most frequently you see B2B advertising on Sunday afternoon golf. You'll see advertisements for GE and Boeing on Sunday afternoons. But generally speaking, you don't see it because B2B marketers rely on precision targeting. We really have to be vigilant about getting a measurable return on our ad spend, and just TV historically has not been that because of the way that it's actually targeted. Measurement as well. Measurement's a non-issue in the realm of connected TV. It's programmatic advertising fundamentally, so it's very measurable. Back to that last point about audience targeting, this is no different than any other sort of digital platform that you're using where it's an audience-based advertising method. So again, both of those challenges of measurement and audience targeting, really non-issues in the realm of connected television. Another sort of pain point historically for B2B brands when it comes to considering an opportunity like this has been sourcing the creative for your campaign. In the case of linear TV advertising, a lot of B2B companies don't have the resources to enlist an agency to create a television commercial for them. But in the case of connected television, most, if not all, of the B2B advertisers are already doing some pretty aggressive video advertising, in which case in most instances, that creative can just be repurposed over to connected television. CTV has some pretty high specs, but in most instances, that could just be repurposed. So really, the moment is here for B2B to advertise on television, which is kind of crazy to say, because again, about 10 years ago, it doesn't really seem like it would make sense for most of us to be advertising on TV, but the time has certainly come. And so, the thing that I particularly like as somebody who has a brand that's running advertisements on television is the fact that it's actually playing a part in my demand gen machine. So we've spent years building a really efficient demand generation machine. We've lit up all the channels. We're using all of the audience intent providers that you've probably heard of or you're using yourself. I think we're really technically sound as a B2B operation. What's been great about television is that it's not treated differently than the rest of our digital channels. It all funnels into GA, Google Analytics, and we could check the work of this platform. And this is specifically important because when you think about demand generation, there's two things that we need to do here. I think this is something that's innately familiar to the B2B marketers here, but maybe the others aren't quite familiar with this, which is there's a concept of capturing demand and a concept of generating demand. And paid search is a classic channel for capturing demand. There's just research happening in search engines. And with paid search advertising, you're seizing upon this research, this activity that already exists, and you're funneling them over to your experience, and then you're trying to convert the users. This is certainly a very important part of B2B advertising. But another aspect of it is generating demand. And what we're doing in the case of demand generation is trying to generate the awareness for a product or a service. CTV is precisely a demand generation channel. It's a great way to create awareness for your brand and to get new customers into market. Now, we know this works because we do this advertising ourselves. One thing that you may or may not know is that our Chief Creative Officer is none other than Ryan Reynolds. Just to get it out of the way, yes, he really works at Mountain. He really does. The creative that you see come out of Maximum Effort, his creative agency that we acquired, Ryan is absolutely involved with it. It's crazy to see, but he absolutely is involved. And one thing that we did when we first acquired Maximum Effort was we put together some commercials, and we ran an A/B test on our campaign on our own platform. And what we did with this A/B test, as you'll see with the creative, is we kind of leaned into the fact that CTV is targeted, it's highly targeted, unlike linear TV advertising. So what you'll notice in the commercials is Ryan is acknowledging the audience that he's speaking to. This is kind of jarring for people because you can't speak with this level of certainty with traditional TV advertising. But we created 2 commercials, we ran them both on the platform, we measured the results, and then in a third piece of creative, you'll see a follow-up commercial that we created where a real customer success person at Mountain shares the results of the A/B test with Ryan. One of the ads, Ryan's prominently featured, the other one he's narrating it, and in the third ad, she'll share the results of the campaign to Ryan. And so why don't we take a look at these ads, and on the back half of it, I'll talk about the results and a little bit more.
Hey there, it's Ryan Reynolds, and if you're seeing this, you probably work in the marketing world. Now, I just wanted to let you know that my marketing firm, Maximum Effort, is merging with Mountain, which is one of the fastest growing companies in ad tech. They built an amazing self-serve connected TV platform, which, not coincidentally, we use to upload this video. Now, if you're not in marketing, I apologize, you must be very confused. Visit mountain.com to schedule a demo. Unless you're not in marketing, which, again, massive apologies.
So that was the first ad in the A/B test that we conducted. So let's look at the second one.
This is Mountain. This is your brand on Mountain. Any questions? Yes, you probably have a ton. This is a pretty blind opening. Anyway, Mountain is one of the fastest growing connected TV platforms, and they just merged with Maximum Effort, the creative marketing company owned by this guy. No, this guy. That's why the mountain volcano metaphor kind of works. It's great tech, and it's great creative in one place. Visit mountain.com for more details. Don't worry, There's no lava.
So we ran a real test on the platform. We used those two ads that you see here. And then after about 4 to 6 weeks, we assessed the results. And again, we had a customer success rep from our team meet with Ryan to explain to him the results of the test. This was an ad that we also ran for ourselves. So let's take a look.
Well, hey there, it's Ryan Reynolds, Chief Creative Officer of Mountain, the fastest growing platform in streaming TV. Now, I just said some words that I barely understand, which is why we're bringing in an expert, Imani Clark.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Imani, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, I'm good. Okay, well, first question, what am I doing here?
You're here because your company, Maximum Effort, recently made 2 ads for Mountain that we've been running to see how they perform.
Right, and how have they been doing?
Well, as a reminder, we uploaded 2 ads, one starring you on camera and one narrated by you. We targeted people we knew worked in marketing, set a $25,000 spend cap, and we set site visits as the key success metric.
Just tell me what I want to know, Imani.
Well, in a surprising twist, the ad without you has been performing better.
Wow, that is crushing for an actor to hear. You literally just broke my soul into 1,000 tiny pieces.
I know, I'm sorry. We were surprised too. The one without you has driven 117% more site visits than the ad with you. The visit rate was 1.61%, and since our algorithm optimizes for performance, the best performing networks were CNN, USA Networks, and NBC Sports.
Is that supposed to make me feel better, or?
Well, you made an ad that's been working. That must feel nice.
You are so damn cheery, Imani. I can't stay mad at you. To recap, Imani is awesome, and the brands who have paid me so much money for my face over the years have totally wasted their cash.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Imani. I think. Visit mountain.com to schedule a demo.
So that last one, I should say, one of Ad Age's top 10 ads featuring a celebrity in last year. But that was the result. This was a real test that we actually conducted. One of the points that I want to kind of make about this, because I have some of my friends kind of ask me about this, which is, yeah, but you have Ryan Reynolds. I don't. And I even had a B2B marketing peer kind of reach out to me asking about what celebrity should I enlist for my brand? And I want to make a point here, which is, as crazy as it sounds, you don't need an A-list celebrity as a B2B brand to make something like this work. Really, the value and the impact of having these campaigns work is in the audience targeting. It's not actually in Ryan being in the ad. The thing is like, you can be in a really niche industry, but as long as you're reaching your target audience on TV, they're going to pay attention. You know, I'm trying to think of like some real, like if I was in like a aerospace manufacturing industry or something like that, and I saw a TV ad come up for it, even if it didn't have a celebrity, I would absolutely pay attention because I never see that sort of stuff on television. So really the impact of this as a B2B marketer is having the ability to reach your target audience. And there's quite a bit in the way of capabilities to really precision target audiences here. Now, for the B2B nerds in the room, let's look at the results of these campaigns that we ran. The test absolutely worked. It drove about a quarter of our website's traffic during the test period, and it's remained consistent. This has been kind of crazy to observe, not as someone who works at Mountain, but as the leader of a B2B marketing team, has been the sort of volume of traffic that it brings to our website. For a lot of you that are in this like planning mode and trying to think about which channels you should have in your channel mix, it's always nice to have a channel that brings a reliable, steady stream of traffic to your website, and Mountain has been that for us. Every month it drives about 25 to 30% of our website's total traffic. There's also a period recently where we were transitioning between creatives. So we had Mountain paused for a week, and we felt it. It was crazy to experience that, but we've developed a dependency on our own platform. And again, it's because of the volume of traffic that it's driving to us. It had 16.5% of our website conversions during the testing period, $6.72 cost per visit, and verified visit rate of 3.25, which basically says that over 3% of all people who were served the ad made their way to our website after viewing the ad. Mountain has a cross-device tracking technology that we have called verified visits that tracks within a household what devices were served an ad and later used other devices in the household to directly access the website. It automatically dedupes and also makes sure that we don't take attribution credit for other channels that may have led a user to the website. This is stuff that makes sense to people who are dealing with B2B demand gen channels all day long. But again, I'm talking about performance marketing here. I'm not talking about linear TV, traditional TV advertising. And so what I want to talk about in this last part of the presentation is how you can do exactly what we did. I want to be really transparent about what went into creating the campaigns that we created. And so what we're really doing is we create the campaign in a way where we're aligning our audience targeting with the marketing funnel. It's pretty straightforward. So starting with top of funnel, this is where our prospecting campaigns go to work. Mountain's platform specifically is integrated with the Oracle Data Cloud, so we have tens of thousands of audiences from all of the greatest hits of data providers of specific interest to the B2B audience here is Dun & Bradstreet, for example. You get D&B audience data pulled into Mountain. So if you're looking to do targeting based off of a variety of B2B interests, people who have spending power, people who are in market for specific products and services relevant to B2B, job titles, seniority, all of that type of targeting that you're probably doing, you can do here. For our campaign specifically, we split between interest in marketing and also job function. Job function is people precisely in marketing. Interest in marketing could be people who obviously are marketers, but also people who have some sort of exposure to marketing, say creative directors or CEOs and CFOs, people who have marketing consideration in their job. Moving down the funnel, for the mid-funnel, we use our CRM targeting capability. So like I imagine everybody here, we're doing ABM, accounts-based marketing, and so we upload our target list into our platform, and we use that as the basis of targeting for a campaign of ours. And so that's been really impactful for us, and that's something that we also distinctly measure is our sort of reach against our ABM audience. And finally, for lower funnel, it's just retargeting campaigns. And to this end, it's going to feel, again, very familiar to a lot of the advertisers here who've set up any sort of retargeting campaign before. Because in this case, what we're doing is we're doing things like site visitors over the past 30 days. This is also great too, if you're doing a lot of aggressive advertising on other channels, it's great to drive them to the website and then retarget those users on television. Now, a tip on retargeting, again, to those who are familiar with setting up retargeting campaigns, is there are some pretty nice levers to pull related to user engagement. So we see some advertisers do 2+ page visits during their session, which is a pretty kind of classic retargeting audience to hit. Some of the other ones do session length, retarget users who have a session length greater than 30 seconds. So really, again, you can kind of approach retargeting in the same way that you've approached it historically for other digital channels. Now, what I want to talk about is that CTV for B2B, there's two ways to approach this. First, there could be brands that are nascent. Either you're new to market or you're just firing up a really aggressive advertising strategy. In that case, CTV works for you. You don't need to show up with a gigantic budget. You can kind of scale up with the channel as you see your results coming in. And that's certainly something that we would recommend, and we certainly see with a lot of the more sort of upstart B2B advertisers on our platform. And you could get a lot of insights in reverse, too. After the campaign performs, you can then do audience segment reporting to see of all these segments that you attach to your campaigns, which ones are performing best. You can take those insights and apply it to campaigns you're running on other channels as well. And then for more established brands that are doing connected television advertising, this certainly is a great opportunity for those types of brands as well. I suspect if you're an established brand, you already have a really good handle on your key performance metrics. A platform like Mountain's, it's not like a DSP. There's no bids that you do in the platform. You show up with a performance goal and a budget. and then the platform does the rest. So again, a more mature brand likely already has a CPA target or a return on ad spend multiple that they're trying to hit. Bring that metric to this platform, and you'll see the results. And we also have incrementality reporting too. For larger advertisers who are spending a lot of money on a lot of different platforms, it's important to be able to understand the specific impact of each of these channels. And Mountain has a native incrementality solution baked into the platform to help you differentiate. So in closing here, what I wanted to kind of just reiterate first is that, again, differentiation is super important. Everybody is playing out of the same playbook. We are too. Like, we're not above marketing automation, drip campaigns, and paid search, and LinkedIn ads, and so on and so forth. We certainly do it too, but we need ways to differentiate ourselves. And one thing that's important for us is when we hear our prospects, or I get this feedback from sales, is that their prospects say, "Oh, I've heard of you before. I see your ads on TV." When I'm just watching TV in the evening. That's fantastic for our sales organization to have a warm lead like that. And so differentiation is absolutely important. Now, this differentiation can't be at the expense of lack of measurement or precision targeting. And again, my message here is that connected television is ready for you. It's now a channel that can be measured, and it could be used for some really precision targeting as well. And finally, the audience targeting capability in these platforms really should not be underestimated. It's pretty impressive as a B2B marketer. I went into it skeptical myself. I kind of wrote it off as a D2C channel. With a lot of like in-market audiences for consumers, but I've been incredibly impressed with the quality of B2B audiences that are available for TV targeting. And again, that's a tremendous end-user experience. If you're in a B2B industry, being able to show television advertising to someone when they're streaming television, these are unskippable ads. So you're definitely going to have a captive audience compared to, say, video advertising. And that's all I got here for you folks today. Thank you so much for the time. I don't know if we're doing a Q&A or not. I guess not. But I'll be on the floor. Mountain's on the floor as well. So please come give us a visit. But thank you so much for the time, everyone. Take care.